You guys want to start it?
So I bought $3,000 in Dogecoin. I'm now broke.
Wait, like actually?
No.
I was like, it's a weird time right now. With
So
all
you
the
bought like
GameStop stuff, and
you
I'm,
bought like
I'm
two
like, there's no.
shares.
Did you buy 2 shares?
Man,
I love all the memes coming out about it now, dude.
we have so many people at work buying all that stupid shit, and some of the dumbest motherfuckers I know are talking about their investments. And like, shut the fuck up. You can't perform basic tasks at work, but all of a sudden you're an investing guru. You're going to lose all your fucking money.
It's gambling. It's just gambling.
I
100%.
like
Even the
that.
people at the top, it's just gambling.
It's gambling
I
where
have
you can
one of-
control the outcome of the table.
Right. But the other team has got that. You're just there to feed the money in.
Yeah.
I had a so with you, if you look at like casinos, they're technically, all the games are technically like fair games. But I had somebody explain to me this, 2 big old math nerds. But the way the system works is you need to buy in with some large amount. So say the barrier to entry is like $10,000, that if you played an infinite number of times, you might beat a casino. Like, you will run even or even gain on the casino with these games, the way they're played. The only problem is nobody really gets to that barrier of entry. So everyone will come in with like 50 or $100 or $200, and that's not enough to handle the high or the lows that'll come with the random chance of gambling. So then everyone will come in and dump $200 and then leave, and then nobody ever gets to that second level where they're actually gaining on the casino.
So
Doesn't gaming mostly follow the law of averages?
Right, but it's that buy-in where it's if you lose too hard, then you're done and you go home. You don't have the ability to play an infinite number of times, which is the only way those games are fair.
So hypothetically speaking, you'd have to come in with like $10,000 per se, and then you.
I don't know if that's the number, but you'd have to come in with some large amount of money.
Yeah.
It might even be $100,000 kind of thing.
Okay.
But then you have to play an infinite number of times.
Okay.
And that's why the casino wins, is because they essentially have infinite money and they play an infinite number of times.
I hate math.
So then it comes, yeah.
I don't.
But it
switch.
makes sense.
I
Want
want
to
to
switch topics?
to a
Yeah.
base 45 number system.
Okay.
It's
Good
the
luck
one
with
I
that.
know. 45,
Uh.
135, 225, 315, 405, 495.
Hashtag meathead math.
I didn't know where you were going with that, and then once you started going up from like 225 to 315, I'm like, oh, he's talking about plates.
There it is. There it is.
Ching.
So, yeah. Max, aren't you said you were doing a new, a powerlifting competition, weren't you?
Yeah.
Signed up for one?
Maybe. We'll see. I haven't enrolled in it yet. I've been slacking. Work's kind of tough. I don't know if I'm able to get to the gym enough. Mostly, I'm just being fucking lazy.
I believe in you.
I don't.
What are your numbers?
So what are your, what numbers are you trying to hit for that? Like, if you hit these numbers, it'd be perfect. This is your...
I haven't even done my diagnostic list yet.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And the meet would be in 3 weeks, so.
Realistically.
So we're talking body weight.
Realistically, if
thinking?
I hit a 5 to 530 squat, a 330-ish bench, and a 5.5 deadlift, it would be an amazing day.
That bench is weak.
The
An
deadlift's
amazing
not
day.
too out of the realm.
I don't know. I haven't pulled deads in fucking 2 years.
Oh, yeah. That'll do you.
Yeah.
I mean, I also didn't squat.
You're doing
for a
so
year
many
and a half,
push-ups, though.
Yeah, well, fortunately, that's not an event.
What? Wait, what?
Push-ups are not an event in a powerlifting.
Oh, yeah. Doing something 100 times doesn't
But bench press is just...
equal up to 1.
Kind of like a push-up.
I mean, yeah,
That's what I'm
but
saying.
I mean, I can still do a set of 20 with 225 benching, so that's something at least.
a set of
Oh, yeah.
20?
Yeah.
Okay, that's... If
It's
you
like
can
a whole
do...
bunch.
If you can do 225, 20, you're probably decent or well off. No.
it'll probably become one of those things where you just got to get used to the weight again.
Yeah.
No, the strength
it's
is
gonna
all
be-
there, and like the strength in my
Yeah.
ligaments and tendons and stuff, like the bits that are actually put under a lot of strain whenever you're not used to it, the parts that kind of tend to break, they're all still strong and pretty tough. I just need to get used to lifting again.
Mm-hmm.
So, what parts of
It'll be
those
fun.
would you say?
What? You broke up a lot.
Okay, so what parts of those, like, would you say need to get used to it again? Are you talking about, like, muscle
The
fibers?
shock to your
like-
central nervous system, for the most part.
Okay, that too.
The,
Okay.
oh shit, I'm going to fucking die, that you feel whenever you put heavy weight in your back.
Okay. I definitely felt that today a little bit. That was fun.
It was like a fucking Final Destination moment.
Yeah. Where you just, like, the great thing about that is just, like, the tunnel vision. Oh my god, I miss that so much. I remember in, like, high
Mhm.
school, I'd get that, and, like, all you could see was just, like, whatever, like, was right in front of you, which is, like, usually a mirror. And then, like, 2 seconds later when you're done, it's just, like, a hazy memory or a hazy fog. But you, like, you did it, you feel like a fucking gorilla,
All my really good lists I black out on.
right? Not
And I
that
don't
I
remember
can
them.
compare, not that I can compare to you, but, like, I can
Everyone-
relate to the feeling.
Shit's relative.
Yeah, I guess.
So what are we going to talk about?
Whenever I work out super hard, I just everything tastes like blood for like the rest of the day. We have to finish. We did find a good answer to why World War One ended, not how, but why, and the answer is kind of anticlimactic. So
Wait,
it
I
kinda
want to guess. I want to
was
guess.
like-
I want to guess.
Okay, guess.
Spanish flu
Ooh, that's a very
in the
good one.
clubhouse with unemployment and everyone was tired of dying.
Do you have a guess, Marcus?
So fatigue. That's probably the best one, honestly. I'm just gonna go with like economic strain somehow. Shortage of workers. Let's go with something stupid like that. Even though if there's people.
So this is a. So you're going economic strain and just being tired.
Yeah, sure.
So this is a quote from the History Channel.
Oof.
By November 1918, both the Allies and Central Powers, who had been battering each other for 4 years, were pretty much out of gas. German offensives had been defeated with heavy casualties, and in the late summer and fall, the British, French, and U.S. had pushed them steadily back. Then we're going to jump down a little bit. As Germany's allies crumbled around them, the war's outcome seemed clear. And then even so, both sides were ready for the carnage to stop. An invasion of Germany would have required too much in terms of morale, logistics, and resources. And that's from the British side. So then, where was it? Germany's political and military situation were weak enough that the Germans feared being conquered. And the British and French and the Americans didn't want to conquer them. And they were, so Germany was suffering from starvation, getting worse every hour. So Germany started opening the armistice, and they actually opened the conversation with the U.S. because they feared reprisal from the British and the French.
That sounds a little bit like World War II in a way.
It's almost
Because
as if every major European war over the past 300 years was the exact
Probably.
same war.
yeah, probably. You could say that because like not so much with Germany, but with Japan, it was like really a numbers thing. They predicted 1 million U.S. casualties, not to mention like whatever Japan's casualties would be. So like it was
All of
either yeah, I mean like they were gonna like it was gonna be like close quarters shit where like I mean like if you think about like Afghanistan where like
No.
you have like instances of like mothers and children picking up weapons, but like on a massive
It would have been
scale.
Fallujah.
Yeah,
It would have been
Fallujah.
Fallujah, but an entire country.
yeah, and that's how it would have been because they viewed the emperor as a god. So they would have most people would have done whatever they could to stop the U.S. So yeah, obviously Hiroshima and Nagasaki kind of changed that, but yeah, same thing.
So, all right. So we have our resolution to how World War One ended.
and the why.
Yeah.
I have a hypothetical. It's World War II.
Okay.
Germany's defeated. We have VE Day. We're working on VJ Day. We drop the bombs. Japan doesn't surrender. We have to invade Japan. What do you do? You're in charge of all Allied forces in the Pacific. What is your overarching military strategy?
Invade China to throw them off.
Well, we were already
Fun
there.
fact. Yeah. The Soviet Union invaded Manchuria, which is like North Korea, like the Korean Peninsula,
Mm-hmm.
on August 14th. So that was like
And don't
bound to happen.
don't
yes.
forget about Merrill's Marauders and all the long patrols in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Steady harassment.
I feel like the steady harassment would work because then people on the inside will break.
It's
You
just
cut them off and kind of siege out the whole
it's
country.
it's so tough though with like Japan. I mean, like I'm not trying to discredit Germany from anything, but like with Japan, we have several incidents where individuals hold up for 25 years. I think there's
Yeah,
people
until the
there was-
70s? Yeah.
Yeah, there was like an individual. I think it was like Okinawa or maybe it was Iwo Jima, where there was like
There's
one
multiple.
guy. Just, yeah. Okay, multiple, not an individual.
Like multiple
who-
instances, yeah.
where they're continuously harassing occupational forces for decades by themselves. It's grounding. So
Could you imagine like being that like just some like airmen just kind of hanging out on an island in the Pacific for like 30 years or like, well, no, you're the new guy. You just show up and they're like, there's a crazy guy that lives in the forest. Don't let him shoot you. None of his bullets work because they're super old, but just like watch out, he's pretty fast. And you're like, is this just how it is? Like if you talk to him, like he doesn't speak English, he hates us, so
no, I
just
can't.
kind of let him be.
That's gonna be such a shock. Like it's like 3 years after the war, and you're just like, hey man, I'm here, and then you have some
Right.
crazy dude just like harassing you. I guess like like just like little stupid thing. I don't know like what you would do at that point. But
Sneaks into the barracks and ties everyone's shoes together.
yeah, fuck. You know, if someone did that, I'd be at a loss of words. Like, damn, you're pretty good at what you're doing.
I think the next house party I go to where people take their shoes off, I'm going to tie all their shoes together.
There was one time I was in like probably second or third grade. It was Wednesday, so we had to go to religion class that night or whatever.
That's pretty stupid.
I don't know. I was in third grade. Don't remember it. But I tied my shoes together just because
Why not?
I was bored,
Yeah.
right? But then I couldn't get it untied. So then, like, the aide had to help me. But the only problem was she had me get up to walk to the back of the church. And so I pulled them super tight. So we had to sit there for like half an hour to untie my shoes from each other. And when we were finally done, we like, the service was done. We
Yeah.
just went home.
So, quick question for you: did you grow up Protestant, as in like
This is
any of the Protestant, like whatever, or Catholic?
Catholic.
I'm sorry.
We had like 7 different churches. We had Lutherans, New Everythings, whatever. I would just classic Catholic. And like, I'd never, like, it was fun. There was a while we had a really good priest, and it wasn't that he was kind of just life stories, and that's how I always saw it. I never got into like the overarching entity that's going to strike me with lightning and all of that jazz. It was
You
kind of
mean
like,
Thor?
these are stories. That's the good one. But so he had a lot of stories, and he would take stuff and directly attach it to people's lives, and he had a lot of cool stuff.
That's
But then he actually ended up getting out of the priesthood because he fell in love with a woman. And so he's like happily married now. But
Better than an altar boy.
we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like when he was there, it was Father John, and the freaking place was packed. He was the bee's knees, man. And then we had a new priest, and it just kind of slowly whittled away, and eventually we kind of stopped going. And
There.
I get technically confirmed, but I don't know if I've been to church since.
that's like I think it's a small percentage of people, like 9%, who actually still continue to go regularly. I had a Pastor John who would do like the same thing. He would relate various passages from like the Bible to modern day situations. So like he would talk about his life.
Mm-hmm.
He was he was a very lovable, like I don't want to say lovable, but very like likable person. And then like once he left because he took on a position at a summer camp situation thing where he could do more things outdoors. He was like avid outdoorsman. I want to say our church congregation dropped in percentage. But that's when I stopped going. I also was confirmed, so I didn't care anymore. So.
I was not.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay, you godless heathen.
I have
Speaking of
gods.
which,
Plural.
Plural.
Yeah. When people get like really into religion, I'm like, you do you, but for me, it's like reading literature where it's like there's stories here
yeah,
that
Yeah.
there's lessons to be had.
Yeah. I think that's all that can really
And
be asked from most of it, especially in this day and age,
Yeah.
whenever we can explain the natural processes for most things through some sort of science. Like, about the only thing we really can't explain at this point through a form of science is what actually happens after you die, which more than likely is you just fucking turn to dirt. But
Yeah.
It's really hard to get volunteers for that study.
yeah,
The recruitment is it's rough.
yeah.
really easy to force volunteers, though.
If you wanted to, you could listen to Joe Rogan talk about DMT and the experiences after that.
Ah, we made it 16 minutes without mentioning Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Well,
wanna talk about-
it was
Did you
bound
actually
to,
have a timer?
it was bound to happen. But like, yeah, I mean, like apparently DMT. I mean, like from what I understand, it's if you take it, it's like the equivalent of dying. The amount of like DMT released into your brain, and then it's like a 20-minute session, and then you're back into reality. But that sounds like really scary because me, I don't think I'm ready for that ever. So
I'll take it.
I guess I'll find out when I'm dead. All right.
I've done a little bit of looking at DMT, not in a way that I want to take it, but like from a chemical point of view.
Yeah.
It's in freaking everything.
Is that
Like you could just go like grab some grass and with basic chemicals that you could buy from Fleet Farm, you can just do a quick extraction and make a bunch of really pure DMT. That's enough to like get 50 cows high. Like you do not need barely any of it.
Wait,
There's
that
so much of it in everything.
Sounds like a business plan.
Would you say it's like
Tell me
almost
what
like
grass
Super
I need to
brutal on
get?
people. Dude, it's like there's tables and charts where it's like, yeah, if you have this grass, it's this much per dry gram of grass.
so?
But you could do massive extractions of it. If you were gonna produce it on a large scale, it would be nonsense. It'd be easy.
Is
It's just not
DMT a like restricted substance or controlled substance?
I believe so. But it's like
Fun
in
haters.
everything.
Yeah.
Would you
Fun
okay?
haters.
So would you go as far to say as it's like the staple of life? Like everything that has life in it has like a fraction percentage of it, and then
Well, yeah, I don't know if I would say that everything has it. A lot of plants have it, but
No,
what's
Yeah.
interesting
Carbon?
is that yeah, it's got all sorts of stuff here. Let me pull up the structure. I apologize for the clacking of my keyboard.
Nerds. We're gonna get into structure molecules.
Yeah, it's not a big structure. It's like
I'm gonna
12 or so carbons, 2 nitrogens. Like it's not complicated.
No.
Here, let me. Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
12 carbons. But you can get it from like everything. Like here, let me show you.
Riveting content, ladies and gentlemen.
People get this thing tattooed too. You can see it there. It's not a complicated molecule.
I 100% believe. Oh, I saw a motherfucker on TikTok that had this tattooed on him.
Yeah.
What a fucking
I
nerd.
wonder if I can find
He had it on like his
the
hand
illegality. Yeah. You
So-
can buy this stuff.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured it out, life's been kind of hectic lately, and no one is prepared for this. We're just kind of doing it when we have time.
I mean, that's the whole point of it, though. I was talking to somebody about it, and it was like the whole point of this is to have a conversation once a week, because you moved off, and then like I graduated, and then we kind of separated our trio here,
Yeah,
and we're like, well, we want to talk, like we want to keep up because we're friends.
we
They'd
did.
stand in your wedding for nothing, but it's like that's the point. And if people listen to it, that's great, and we appreciate it. And I want to say thank you to everyone for listening, but This is an us thing that it's just like by posting it on YouTube, it forces us to do it at least once a week.
We should do more friend stuff.
Like where we have more people on, or where we like do more like
More like friend stuff, like stuff together, like the three of us, like play a game or fucking I don't know, do trivia or some stupid shit like that. Something that's more engaging to the three of us on a personal level.
I'd be down to clown. It is controlled. It is a Schedule 1, but
gross.
it is not a narcotic. But you can buy it from a lot of vendors.
Oh, hell yeah.
But like I was saying, it's in everything. So, but yeah. It's like a 2-step thing, too. It's like you extract it once, shake it, put it in the freezer, shake it again, it's done.
It's pretty fun.
Like, there was a guy, too, he figured out the chemical in, like, toads. Like, people lick toads to get high. And he figured out what chemical it was, and he figured out a really easy way to mass produce it.
That's
and
innovation.
So he's selling it as a pain pillar. Right. But he made a batch, like he made a video of him making a batch in some lab in Mexico. And he's like, yeah, it took me about 2 hours, and I made the equivalent of like 50,000 hits from toads.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like acid in a way.
It was like just the thing with acid is like you can. So this guy made toad stuff, and it was like 4 steps, nothing too crazy. If you make acid, like some of the ingredients, like you need like jet fuel, and you need to be able to work under a nitrogen environment. You have to do all these crazy things. So it's actually super difficult chemically to do it. Like the lab skills are really high. So like if you're a high-end chemist, you can go to Amsterdam or wherever the factory is, and you can make like massive amounts of LSD because it's legal there, and then they ship it illegally around the world. But they make it in these big batches, but it's like getting the stuff is insane. It's like in Breaking Bad when they're like, well, we can make this meth, but half the issue is not the chemistry, it's getting the stuff. So there's all sorts of crazy shit.
Okay.
We were bored one day and we Googled it, and there's like you could find a whole lab manual. It's like all the information you need, all the amounts, everything. All the math is done.
Isn't that
And it's a one Google away. Not even. Like there's multiple ones. There's a lot of resources for like what are the chemical steps to make LSD from. I think it's like a specific fungus that grows on a specific grass. It's like ergot or something that lives on rye, but then it's just that's your kind of your raw in, and then it's crazy chemistry on the way out. But it's like not. Yeah, DMT. Like dumb easy, toad venom, not very complicated. Make an acid like a PhD chemist.
So, hypothetically speaking, if you have a bachelor's degree in biochem or chem, you could probably manufacture it if you had access to all the supply, correct?
I could, like with my degree, I could probably make the first 2 pretty easily. But I don't know if I have the lab skills to make acid.
Okay.
And I worked in a organic chemistry research lab for like a year and a half, and we did a lot of crazy stuff, but we didn't work under large nitrogen environments. Like there's a couple steps where it's photosensitive, but it's also like explosive.
Okay.
So you have to use red lights because if you put white light on it, it'll explode.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
You've piqued my interest.
I remember I heard from somebody that it was like 1 gram of pure acid, or like if by weight 1 gram is like $1 million.
Okay.
So it's so much money because the amount of because it's like divvied up, like 1 gram of acid is like 100,000 hits or something because like it's so potent.
Yeah.
It's so tiny. So like when they make these batches, they don't need to make a ton. But yeah, that's like PhD chemist level stuff.
Pretty cool.
And I know a couple PhD chemists, but it's like it's a whole shebang and bang. It's not a I'm gonna make it in my garage. I'm like, no, you would explode.
So
if you could even get the stuff.
instead of teaching a class, making like $70,000 a year, $60,000 a year, you could make drugs. And yeah, okay, interesting.
But if you were really good at it, like if you were like a top end chemist,
Yeah.
you could like take vacation to Amsterdam for 2 weeks and make a bunch of acid. It's not a long process.
So
It's a hard process, but it's not a long process.
yeah, and I'm sure.
But they work in teams too because the synthesis takes like some dumb amount of hours,
Okay.
and it constantly has to be watched.
Okay.
So they do it in shifts.
Well, I'm sure if you have a doctorate
Yeah.
in like chemistry, you can handle 2 weeks of hell in order to make a substantial amount of money.
Mhm.
Sure, you have that kind of brain wiring and work ethic, and everything. So, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's one of those things that it's not that each step is so impossibly difficult. There's nothing about it that's like terribly complicated, but it's the culmination of 50 steps in a row that are all do or die.
Okay. Which
And
require.
the more steps you add to a
Oh, go on.
so the rule is nothing in chemistry, if you're going to be doing a synthesis pathway, nothing is efficient at all. Like if you're like above, depending on the thing, like you might get 90% efficiency, you might get 70% efficiency, but the more steps you add, the less efficient you are. So you have greater costs and lower profit every step you add. So like when they make pharmaceutical grade stuff, they'll try and do it in 3 steps or 5 steps, or they'll crank efficiency and they'll really refine their pathways. So there's a $1 billion industry just in refining chemical reactions to make ibuprofen, because once you get to the point where you're making so much ibuprofen, if you can save 1 cent per gram, that's $1 million at the end of the year. So, but with acid, there's so many steps and they're so finicky. It's just, yeah. This is an interesting topic that we stumbled into.
Very much is. So yeah.
So I was at work too. This is kind of in the same realm, and I got wrapped into a book club by an 80-year-old woman. So we're sitting there. I think her husband was there. We were bringing him black for where I was doing at work, and we're in between stuff, so we're kind of chatting. She's like, "Oh, you guys do research? Like, you would like this book?" And I'm like, "Well, what's the name of the book?" And she's like, "One River by Wade Davis." Or I think she said The River, and her husband corrected her to One River. Either way, she was like, "Yeah, it's really interesting. It's these Harvard professor types that went into the Amazon for like 12 years, and they were studying and like charting rivers and living with undiscovered tribes, and the whole time they were studying like psychedelics and like peyote. So it's this weird combination of high-end research with them dealing with these tribes and also being on a massive amount of various psychedelics."
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Max, are you trimming your nails on the podcast?
Possibly.
You should wait and do that, because if it continues to click, I might tear my eyes out.
Ryan Brighton will come and find you, and he will murder you.
Right.
Okay.
Luckily,
On behalf
I'm
of
really
him and
far
his son.
away on military installation.
Well, are you friends with him on Facebook?
Maybe?
Hold on. Let's see.
But yeah, he's been requesting reduced background noise because that shit drives him nuts.
Oh.
I can't disagree with him.
No,
I mean-
I can understand that.
Background noise is going to keep happening because our production quality is incredibly shitty.
It has improved, but I think we've hit a bit of a plateau.
Yes.
I think the next step is get Marcus some soundproofing. We need to get him some rugs.
Or just a
I think-
room.
Some like
I think part of that is just like living in a different environment. I will say that.
you think so?
Yeah.
I just think like there's little things that we could do to improve. Like, I got soundproofing up because I care about the podcast.
Yeah.
This means a lot to me.
So
I'm not
yeah,
sitting in my dining room anymore.
That helps.
yeah. So, but like foam padding would probably help a little bit. I don't know how much, but like a little bit. You
You
know.
can just hang blankets on the wall.
Yeah. You just need some, like, sheets or something, just hang them up. It does. It makes a world of difference.
Okay. I was going to be a rude person and say something about a tinfoil hat, but I'm like, nah, never mind.
I mean, then the government can't read your thoughts, so.
They're in fashion right now.
Yeah. Well, like, there's not a whole lot to read anyways. It's a lot of so, you know.
It's the monkey with the clapping cymbals
Yeah.
from The Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly. And then when I'm at work, it's, why are you an idiot? Yeah. So, yeah.
Why are you the idiot? As my brain is on background mode.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm
It's like the 2004 screensaver on like the computer where it's just like
doop.
making
Yeah.
random patterns and
yeah,
stuff.
I've
And
noticed
every
that
time
it's-
it goes into the corner, you have a thought.
yeah,
Right.
I've noticed that it's terrible. Like instead of like trying to find solutions at work, I'm just like, I'll suspend that and I'll send that over to the service desk and they'll help you from there. Thank you, sir, for being patient. Or madam.
Well, some people just can't be helped.
That's a lot of Walmart customers, you know. Also, if you're over the age of 50 and you're afraid of self-checkouts, let me help you. And we're going to help you with that because I don't need lines of 10 people waiting for 2 registers that are open when you can go to self-checkouts. So I'll teach you the ins and outs of self-checkouts so you don't make silly mistakes which makes you feel uncomfortable.
I don't
Side
think I've
note.
had a person check me out at Walmart in 3 years.
I mean, me too. I mean, like, if they have to come in and be like, hey, are you over the age of 18 or 21 to buy this item? Yeah, but, like, that's all done at a self-checkout. So, you know, I don't think that counts.
I usually go if I have any produce, I go through the main line.
Okay,
Because I don't deal with that,
it's
and
actually,
it's not worth it.
it's actually
But you
not
can
that
save
hard.
It's
money
not
by
hard.
putting the wrong produce in.
It's actually not that
I'm not a
hard.
terrible person.
No,
I am.
okay. Well, okay, but besides that, we know that. I'm kidding. You're a lovely person to be around.
No, I'm not.
But like I was also like an old geezer and nervous around entering produce. But like once you like play with it, just like for 10 seconds, it's super easy to like learn. So I get over
But
that
you know what
fear.
the problem with that, Marcus?
What?
I don't work at Walmart, so it's not my job to figure it out.
No,
He said he
but
wants
like
to fight you.
It's your job
it's
to
super
know.
intuitive. So as long as you've like been around technology, you're probably fine. So,
But-
you type in a
But
number.
how am I supposed to remember if I get organic or non-organic jalapenos?
There's usually a
I don't
number.
know.
There's usually like a number or like a search button. So
It's
you
too
type
many
in-
steps.
And when
It's
in
too
doubt,
many
Yeah.
steps.
you go with
okay,
the
fair.
cheaper one.
Yeah.
Isn't that the joke? Is like, it was like somebody got arrested for trying to buy a PS4 or PS5
Yeah.
or whatever
Yeah.
as carrots.
Yeah. So I
You,
will.
like you weighed it and scanned it in
I'm
and bought it
going
as like
to-
$6 a carrots or whatever.
All right. So as a team lead at Walmart, I'm going to let you guys in a little secret, and it's not really a little
Oh.
secret,
Gossip.
but we have handhelds. So tell us what you're scanning for and how much the price it is. So if you're scanning 2 carrots or like a pound of carrots for a PlayStation 5, and if we're actually paying attention, which is really a big what if. That's the big part. Because like I have high schoolers sitting there and they don't care. Like they're like 17-year-old chicks. So like they're just like, oh my god, he's hot. No, he's hotter. But like
I'm sorry, when
They
was the
actually
last time I
see
was at Walmart?
probably a while ago. But anyways, if they actually see that, they'll come up to you and be like, hey, I noticed you didn't scan this item. Would you like help? And if they don't, then we can pursue. Whoops. But like,
$800 of stuff in your cart, and your receipt says $6.
Yeah.
There's
so
a
like,
disconnect somewhere.
yeah, if you're doing your job, if a Walmart person is doing their job, actually, they'll catch that and be like, hey, you
Believe
didn't
they're
pay for
called
that. What are you
slaves.
doing?
I'm not saying I'm not a slave.
Yeah.
I would like to reiterate that this podcast is sponsored by Target.
Yes. They pay $15 an hour. The problem is working full time. You can't. But it's there. Another note. What was I saying? I saw a post about people. Slight side track. It was like skilled laborers are a product of like the bourgeoisie. This is a myth. They don't exist. You're all on a level playing field. And I was just like, no. If you know how to weld and know how to like do things with like are complicated, you're a skilled laborer. You should get paid more than someone who doesn't know any of these trades. So, sorry to burst your bubble if you're like you don't believe that, but if you know something what other people don't know, you should get paid more for doing that job.
Yeah.
That's the T.
The T is that skills exist.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it a
If
twisted
you're
T?
good at fabricating items, you should like work at a factory job which pays you for your skills. I mean, you're probably gonna get boned in the end at somehow, but at least you'll
Everyone
get
gets
boned with
boned.
like a better paycheck than like checkout person.
It's like video games. It's like, hey Marcus, how do I make more money? Get good, nerd.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, I'm sorry. What?
Go learn
That's
some
how it
shit.
is. Yeah, exactly. So, like, know your trade. Like, know your worth. If you have a college degree, figure out, like, how you can apply that to your field. Or if you know certain skills that other people don't, figure out how to apply that to certain situations and make yourself more marketable and earn more money. Don't
And
be...
liberal arts degrees are useful. You're just retarded if you can't figure out how to apply it. Fuck you.
Exactly. So, I have a liberal arts degree, and I work at Walmart.
Thank you.
And I can sort of apply that to what I do now. It's just like if I actually want to like use my brain or not. That's the biggest thing. Well, it's like critical thinking skills
Everything
go a long
always
way.
applies.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I'm sure if you're a welder and you're like working at Walmart for whatever reason, you can probably like put two and two together and be like, hey, this doesn't add up. I'm
Literally.
gonna do this, and this will work out better. So just apply yourself. Side topic.
Do anything. Get really good at anything. Find niche in anything. Make a bunch of money.
Okay, or make amount of money.
Sounds like the South Park, like
Okay, so like
step 1, acquire skills. Step 2, question mark. Step 3, profit.
okay, so not everyone's gonna be an Elon Musk, but you like find a way to make yourself.
I'm sorry, what'd you just call him? Did you say Alon?
What is it? He's South African. It's a
Elon?
lot of things. Oh.
Alon. I'm only going to call him Elon Musk.
Didn't Ellen get in trouble?
Yeah, Alon is currently being investigated by the government for something that's super bullshit.
Okay,
Can't remember what it
so this reminds me of the history of South Africa, which I'm not going to go into, but
Dude, I
South
watched
Africa.
District 9.
Okay, to the 10 people viewing this, District 9 is an incredible movie. Shrotto Copley's accent is lovely. I love South Africans. Like, the way they talk
You
is
fucking
fantastic.
prawn.
Yeah, but like,
District 9 was great, but just like we're not getting into South African history. If you want the history, just watch District 9.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
anyways, long story short,
Just
multiple
apartheid
people
with
have
extra steps.
multiple people have colonized them, so they have different names and different accents and different ethnic groups, and they all hate each other. So yeah, I know this because my mom's friend is
Marcus.
South African.
Marcus, do you remember when we were playing our last rugby match against Wayne?
Yeah.
And we were like halfway through the game, and we were up by like 60.
Yep.
And we all and we looked up, and their 7 looked like Faf de
No,
Klerk,
it wasn't their
the
7.
scrum half
Their,
for South Africa.
their 7 was Gumby.
I thought it was-
Reincarnation. It was like 12 or someone.
Oh, that's what it was. It was their 6 then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It
was
was-
one of their guys that looked exactly like Faf de
Yeah,
Klerk.
yeah, exactly.
And for those who are like rugby illiterate, if you're playing scrum half, that's kind of like playing quarterback. Except in rugby, you actually see their face. So like everyone sees Faf de Klerk. And he also was just like essentially the quarterback of the team that just won the World Cup for rugby. So he had a bunch of photos of him holding this trophy and all these medals and all this cool stuff. But then he had this funny, he had a Speedo with the flag on it. And so there's all these pictures of him going dumb places and taking pictures with this trophy in the Speedo. It was just really funny. So we see this guy that looks like Faf de Klerk and we go, hey, you look like Faf de Klerk. And he goes, I don't know who that is. And we all kind of looked around and went, that explains why we're up by 60. Mr. didn't watch your film. But then we're like, oh, it's the guy on all the rugby Instagrams that's been holding the giant trophy in his Speedo. And he's like, you've been looking at guys in Speedos? That's so gay. Like, you're down by 60, dude. We're just trying to make conversation at this point.
We're just trying to be
Like,
polite.
we're bored.
Yeah.
Right. And he was like, oh, I got him. Like, oh, we got you. You guys look like dudes with in Speedos. Ooh, gotcha.
You're damn right I do.
That was such a game.
I used to. My favorite thing to do is whenever you lined up in a scrum was to compliment your opposing flanker on their eyes.
Oh, dude, oh my god.
Beautiful eyes.
Speaking of which,
Can I have them?
Speaking of which, Wayne State's mulatto blindside, so number 6 jersey, had the most like beautiful blue-gray eyes ever, and he looked kind of like the Hodge twins.
He like actually did.
No, he did. He did.
Like, actually had really
I was
beautiful
going to
eyes.
say something. I was going to be like, "Boy, you have the most beautiful eyes ever." Like, I have green eyes.
Like, but like not in a weird way, but
But,
like,
like-
you just have beautiful eyes,
like,
bro.
bro,
I just
no
really
homo.
loved his eyes, bro.
Your eyes are so
We just
beautiful.
got lost
I'm
in your
so
eyes, bro.
blessed
This
to
is
see
full, no homo. I just
Yeah.
loved his eyes.
that. Dude, he didn't do anything in that match, I don't think, but like his eyes were beautiful. They were on fleck. They were great, man. He's a good looking dude.
Oh my God.
Good looking dude. Good looking
How did
dude.
this not come up
100%.
earlier?
I feel like it has.
This
The
is some
story is
deeper-
familiar. Either that or Marcus just
goodness.
really likes looking into flankers' eyes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I don't know who.
could you? I'm just thinking like if I was in Marcus's position, I just looked up and like they were like spooky, like beautiful eyes, like trying to figure out how to bring it up in not a weird way
Yeah.
all game.
I don't like.
You have pretty eyes.
Yeah.
And then like run away.
Yeah, run at the fly half. That's how it would go. When was I ever?
Start calling him out as pretty eye dude.
Yeah. Oh, like that's the thing. Like I didn't talk to people, so like it was kind of like, but like I really
Just
wanted
winked
to
at
comment
them?
on his eyes. He had really beautiful eyes. Like, my God. No
I'm sure he
homo.
gets told plenty.
I'm sure.
That was the game that we like had that psychological torture on the other
Oh
hooker.
my God.
Do you remember that story?
Yeah.
Max, have you heard that story?
I have not.
Go over it, please.
Oh, you'll like this story. So this is also the story of how I blew out my shoulder. So we go undefeated on our regular season. Yeah. And we had this massive scoring thing. We were ranked top thing. We had just took third the nation. We're coming back, but we got to qualify first. So we got to drive about 11 hours to Columbia, Missouri to play and win 2 matches to get to nationals. First day we play University of California, Pennsylvania, I think.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of giant fucking dudes.
They were chubs.
like giant,
but they were huge.
like where did you find these?
Like human
Fucker guys.
refrigerators.
Yeah.
Like just giant fuckers. Yeah, but they were all out of shape. So like the first half was pretty good, but we kind of played our cards right, and then we just ran them into the ground in the second half. We ended up winning by like 40 points, I want to say.
Something like that.
It was a good match,
Um,
but
We won by 40 points. It was a
Sweet.
good match.
it was a good match until we started winning by 40 points.
yeah.
So we get done. Other team starts. It's like Wayne State versus Jake State or some other small college.
Like Jake
Wayne
from
was
State Farm.
Yes, might as well be.
maybe, but Wayne's men's team ended up getting voted team of the decade. So they were kind of coming back. They were trying to go to nationals and like put a good stamp on it. They were a good team. So after our game, we go over there and we're all sitting watching these guys, and they're really good. They're moving the ball well. They're fast. They're doing great. And Jake State has a couple of runaways, but they end up winning their game by like 60. Whole time, me and our coach at the time, Gertz, we're taking notes. We're putting in plans. So all night we kind of strategized. We ended up going to Hooters, but there was like 40 of us. It was a hoot. But so we put in this great game plan. We get up there that morning. Everything just goes right. Everyone's in their right spot. We got it's just right. Like we finally figured it out after a whole season of not knowing who's going in next. We had it on lock. And so I think they kicked off to us or we kicked off to them. No, they kicked off to us because we started with the ball.
Yeah.
But so they kick off to us. We're freaking ramped up. We're all excited. 2 passes off to the winger. Jerry enters the line. He scores. So first points are on the board. Not 30 seconds into the game. Like immediate score. Boom. And I'm like, okay, we're just hot. We always start hot. That's how this works. We'll be fine. We gotta keep playing. It's a long game. So then we kick to them. They have possession. I think they run 2 phases, and we stop them cold, if not for a loss. And I'm like, we're still hot. It's just the start of it.
Yep.
And then I think we took a ruck, 2 passes, scored. Not a minute in, we had 2 scores on the board, and they had made negative meters. And in my head, I went, there's no way this keeps going. Like, they're the team of the deck. Like, they're going to play a good game. And then we kicked off to them, and I don't think they touched it. I think Jerry, our super athlete, literally caught it, and then everyone else went, did he just catch that? And he had scored before the team had even realized what happened. So we were up 3 scores onto our 4th kickoff in 2 minutes. And I just knew it. I just felt it in my bones. I've been on a lot of teams and played a lot of games, and I just knew that one just freaking broke the whole game wide open. And it did. So we ended up scoring about at that pace the whole time. So we walked into halftime, and it was 40-0.
Holy shit!
Right.
Team
so
of the
that was
decade.
the scoring pace. Team of the decade.
Yes.
So we're gonna back up a sec, and we're gonna loop back to that psychological terror now that we set the scene.
This is what I'm here for.
Right. So for the rugby illiterate, when somebody drops the ball forward, if it touches the ground, say I throw it to Max and he's running forward, it bounces off his chest and hits the ground.
As usual.
That's called a knock, and it results in a scrum. A scrum is this amalgamation of 8 people on each side, with the hooker it being kind of the tip of the spear. The idea is that the scrum half will roll in the ball to their hooker. Their hooker will then reach out with their foot and hook the ball, grab it and slide it back, and that's how they maintain possession. So if the other team drops the ball, if they knock it on, then we get the put. And usually, if you get the put, you get the ball. So if you get a couple steals a game, it's a big deal as a hooker. But it's also a very intimate affair between hookers. So when you're a hooker, your arms are behind the people around you, and you're hanging off the ground. You're being held up off the ground. Being a hooker is also one of the most dangerous positions in all of sport, because if the people around you fail, both hookers will die instantly because their necks will break. So there's this weird kind of morbid camaraderie between the 2 hookers. So usually you start in the first scrum, you go, hey, I'm Keegan. We'll be safe today. You do you. If you have any questions, let me know, whatever. And then we'll be fun, and you say jokes back and forth. But you talk as hookers because you need to be able to communicate because you don't want to die. This guy didn't want to do that. So I'm pretty undersized for a hooker. This guy was smaller than I was, a couple inches shorter, probably 20 pounds lighter. Like, he was pretty not big. And he had And he was a crab ass. So we get into our first one. I go, hey, I'm Keegan. Like, where are you from? What's your story here? He doesn't even acknowledge me. He looks around, checks to make sure everyone's good, and he goes, down, bind, set, or whatever his calls was. But he screams them right in my face. And his guys just kind of, and they get all down. And then we get down, and we don't do that. So we just kind of get into position like a bunch of hyenas that you train to tackle stuff. And then it was their put, and we all kind of, that first scrum is always kind of weird because you don't know what the other team's coming with. And we just kind of pushed them back, and I hooked the ball, and it was just this really slow, quiet scrum that we stole. And in my head, I'm like, is this going to happen all game? Like the scoring, is this how this is going to be? And then I was like, yeah, it is. So get to our next scrum, same thing, slow steal, like just kind of a demoralizing. I'm just going to take that steal. And I go, oh yeah, we're done. This is going to be a great game for everybody wearing this jersey, not that jersey. Speaking of jerseys, they had these beautiful brand new kits.
Yes.
There's a lot of parts in this story. It's a long one.
Remember, they're team of the
So
decade.
we're in these scrums, team of the decade. They just got new kits. They got beautiful uniforms, shiny,
Beautiful.
fresh out of the box uniform.
Armor
right?
all.
And I grew up. I wore black and gold. They're black and gold. They were select uniforms, man. They were great. They were shiny. They were cool. So we get into this third scrum, and I notice how shiny these shorts are, especially. They're like mirror finished rugby shorts, and I'm like, how do you get them so shiny, let alone keep them so shiny? So we get into our third scrum, and I go, hey, dude, great uniforms, by the way. I don't know if you designed them or what, if you had anything part of it, but they're awesome. But like from a laundry perspective, how do you keep your shorts so shiny? And he looks at me like I was made out of pure human stupidity. And I know that look. I get it a lot, so I recognize it. And there was a deep little ember of hatred in there. And I'm like, oh, that's going to grow today. I can just feel it. And so we took it again. I don't think he won a hook all day.
No.
And every single time we came to a scrum, I would look at him right in his eyes, and I'd be like, dude, how do you get your shorts so shiny? You're playing great. How do you keep your shorts so shiny? Dude, how you got to tell me, what's your secret? Do you use Dawn? Do you pre-soak them? How do you keep your shorts so shiny? How do you keep your shorts so shiny? Dude, how do you keep... And this whole time, the score is rising, and they're starting to... Their team talk is getting me like, guys, like, it's going to be our last team, like, game as a team. Like, we gotta enjoy playing as a team. We had a great season. And when that talk comes out, you know you're done.
You're fucked.
And this guy went from yelling to kind of talking to just being dead silent. So by halftime, he had resorted to trying to kick me in the scrums. Like after the thing was over, he would try and kick me. He was playing dirty. He was hitting guys late. He wasn't talking to his coaches. He wasn't taking water. He wasn't talking to his teammates. Whenever there was huddles, he would just kind of mill around somewhere else while everyone else was talking and planning. And so I knew we were starting to get into this guy's skin. So we hit halftime. It's 40-0. It is 40-0 at half. That's what we call an ass whooping. And we're like, we got our subs in. We're putting in who we thought we were going to put in. Game's going perfect. Let's keep on our plan. We put in a couple of our killers. They don't have any answers. So we come into second half. We're hot again. And this guy, still mad, oddly enough, didn't calm down. So he starts hitting guys late. Like, pass the ball, 2-3 seconds, take a couple steps, look around, get tackled by this guy. And we're used to that. Like, we play a lot of dirty players, and he wasn't that big, and he wasn't hitting that hard. So our guys were pretty big, and they would just kind of go, oh, good hit, and then they would help him up. And he was mad, and it wasn't helping. And every time in those scrums, like, how do you keep your shorts so shiny? How do you keep your shorts so shiny? Eventually, he tackles Noah, who's Marcus's roommate. And I hope Noah hears this, because Noah's one of the most proficient smack talkers that I've ever met. Because he's not nice. He's just mean. Like, it's not a fun thing for him. He's not trying to get in your head. He's trying to, like, put venom into your soul that you will need therapy to get out.
Yeah.
And this guy tackles Noah. And Noah gets up and just starts berating this man. I'm like, dude, you're down by 60. Why the fuck are you doing that? Like, what's the score right now? It's like 60-0. what's the score right now? How was Nationals last year? They just missed out. They had to watch us play in their spot. How was Nationals last year? Just digging into this guy. And you could just see this guy's posture kind of like bulge and just gets gradually sadder. And eventually I pulled Noah off and I'm like, you don't need to make this worse for this guy. I got this on lock. Next time we're in the scrum, how'd you get your shorts so shiny? And you can just see this guy breaking in his eyes. Like he's so mad that he can't fathom what's happening. The world is falling apart around this man. Eventually he gets stepped on or he's bleeding or something. And so I point at him, I'm like, hey, you're bleeding, man. You should, next time there's one of these things, you should take a stop and you should go get taken care of so you can come back in so you don't miss anything because you're playing great, man. You got your shiny shorts, you're playing great. We take the scrum, we take the ball, throw it out, we dropped it again. We're back in the scrum. So I go, hey, man, you got to get that checked out. I don't want you to bleed on nothing. You got these nice jerseys. You can wipe it on me if you want. I got black and red jerseys. We're used to the blood. And unsolicited, the person next to me, Josh, he looks and goes, dude, you're bleeding. You should get that taken care of. And this guy snaps on Josh. He's like, I'm bleeding. And Josh just goes, I don't know if you got anything, man. That's why we take care of blood the way we do. And he goes, I don't have anything. You got AIDS or whatever. And I'm like, that's a weird comeback. And then he wipes the blood on me anyway. So I'm like, this man is broken entirely. His soul is broken. We have it just in a jar on our mantle, just hanging out. So now it's like 73-3 or whatever. We're up by 70 points. It's like the last 5 minutes of the last game of the season. Yeah, they scored a couple bullshit tries. Like, we took everybody out kind of thing. Let the seniors play. It was like seniors and freshmen. That's how those games work. And it's like the last 4 minutes, and they finally stop us on our own, like, 5. So we punt it out. I was in pretty good shape, so I'm chasing this punt. And I'm full out sprinting. I'm going. It's like a full 40-yarder. I'm feeling amazing. Got my second win. I'm all strided out, hauling ass. And there's this guy. And he's back there. I don't know why he's back there, but that's where he is. So that ball, it's a rugby ball, so it's kind of the shape like a football. It bounced perfectly on its side, about 10 feet into the air, perfectly sideways. And then it fell down like a knuckleball, and that guy caught it right in front of his face, so he couldn't see me. I'm probably 5 meters out at this point at a dead clip. I could not be going any faster. That's the fastest I've ever run. And this guy was standing perfectly straight up, exposing his guts with no way to defend himself. And Max just cracked a smile because he knows. I had an internal thought. I go, hey, you got 2 options here, Keegan. You're a good guy. You could just tackle him. You could break down. You could tackle him correctly. You could posture up, you could take this ball and probably run a good bit before they catch you, maybe even score. Or, this guy's been a dick. He's been a dick to you. He's been yelling in your face. He's been bleeding on you. He's been a dick to all your teammates. You could just tackle this guy, like, really hard. And I gotta say, I'm not proud of it, but I chose the second option. And I felt this man's spine.
You should be proud of it.
Through his front. I hit this guy so hard that I had a bruise from the front of his spine on my shoulder. I cut this motherfucker in half. Oh my Christ, I've never hit someone so hard in my life.
That's fun.
But here's the only problem. If we remember to the very beginning of the story, it's not a big feller. And we're in Missouri in November, so it's rock solid. It's like playing on pavement. I hit this motherfucker. We went straight into the ground. As soon as I hit the ground, left shoulder hits, tears everything. Shoulder dislocates. I roll over. He gets up and runs away. Hopefully I hurt his pride. I don't know. But my shoulder's shredded. I feel it slide back in. I got a lump. Athletic trainers run up and hustle me off. I'm laying on the ground on the sideline as the trainer watches my shoulder attempt to reassemble itself. I just remember him looking at me and going, ugh. And then I hear our coach yelling. They're running through my gap, and they're like, what the fuck? Where's Keegan? Like, I'm over here, Gertz. And he looks and he goes, shit. So I get up with the trainer. We go over. He's like, can you do this with your arm? I'm like, ah. You do this with your arm? Ah. And then the final whistle blows. right as they give me an ice pack. So I'm like, I gotta go take pictures. Goodbye, trainers that should tell me what's going on, but I left before you could tell me what to do. So we get out there. So in all these photos of us after our like 73-10 or 73-15 win, there's me gritting my teeth with this big ice pack. Everyone else is like, "This is amazing," and I'm like, "I'm fucked up, but I'm gonna take pictures." So there's all these funny photos of me all jacked up. Here's the kicker for the story, though. We go to shake hands with the other team. He doesn't come shake hands. So I'm talking with some of their other guys, and I'm like, dude, I got to go shake this guy's hand. I've never hurt my shoulders. I've been rock solid across the chest my whole career. And he did play a really good game. He played a really good game, but just couldn't answer for it. So I go over there. I want to shake this guy's hand. I go, "You're the only person I've ever hurt my shoulder on. You played a great season. That shouldn't have ended the way it did. Good luck next year." And I put my hand out. He doesn't even. He looks at me, pure hate, disgust. He's got a tear in his eye. He doesn't offer his hand, so I grab it, I shake it, and I run off. Eventually, I was walking over back to the athletic tent to get a second bag for my ice, talking to one of their coaches. He's like, "Oh, yeah, he's pretty sour. He came here from Britain because he wasn't good enough over there. He came here to win a national championship."
What a fucking prick.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Fuck that dude.
Yeah,
He can
so
get fucked.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the story of my grade 3 full shoulder shred, dude.
What a story
Psychological
to end
terror
on.
until the end.
What a fucking story to end on.
I'm glad you liked that one.
That was good.
So many little details, but
So I'm going to go make dinner.
Okay.
do we want to record Sunday?
Something like that.
Something like that?
Hold on.
And you were saying we want to do something that's maybe more involved than talking. So I was wondering,
Yeah.
Marcus, what's the capacity of your laptop? Like, could you play CSGO?
What do you mean?
Like, could you play a very basic video game? Like, how
Probably.
shitty is your laptop?
we can all play
It's like
Xbox.
it's like 5 years old.
Oh, that's true. We
Yeah.
could all play Xbox.
Yeah.
Or something that's just cross-platform. Probably be
So-
easier to
Right.
play cross-platform.
I work 2 to close, so if you can work around that, like in the morning, I'm fine with that. But
Okay.
I don't
might
have
need to
anything
do
going.
mornings, depending on what time.
I don't have anything going Sunday morning.
We'll work on it. We'll plan
It's
plan it off podcast, but we're gonna see if we can mix up and do something different. Maybe do some
Okay.
commentary on something, play some video games, something friend related, as Max was saying.
I mean, if
But
nothing else,
we do want to say,
just watch Keegan
Yeah.
play
Okay.
Tarkov and just comment.
oh yeah, and just make fun of me, just like heckle me from the
So-
back.
Exactly.
Yeah, we could do that.
Do I?
But either way, I want to say thanks to everyone for listening. If you made it this far, I know I've told that story to a lot of people, so it's probably second time, third time for a lot of folks. So if you're listening, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, everyone. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And unlike, leave a mean comment and unsubscribe for someone else's channel.
Yeah.
Right. The more hateful, the better.
I feed off of hate.
But yeah. Have a good night, everybody.